Hey everybody, before we get started, I just wanted to say, if you enjoy our content and want to stay up to date with our videos, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Thanks. So, on to the video.
The start of the game opens with a shot of a barren wasteland, following the path of an avian life form soaring the sky. It eventually arrives at a gargantuan metropolitan city, with many of the modern conveniences we know and love today: machinery, electricity, transportation, communication, industry. This is the city of Midgar, a technical and scientific marvel in the world of Gaia. Steel beams and structures reach for the sky as the surrounding edges of the city pump a green substance from the earth. The city is owned by the Shinra Corporation, an entrepreneur in science, medicine, and weaponry. Shinra developed a reactor that is able to pump this green substance from Gaia and use it for their own means. Midgar and many parts of the world run on this power. This substance is known as Mako. We move on to a young man wielding a giant sword. This is Cloud, ex-soldier, first class, and the hero of our story. Cloud is a mercenary for hire, cutting ties with Shinra over 5 years ago after a certain incident. He left behind the soldier program and began to work for himself. Soldiers are genetically enhanced combatants using Mako energy. These are Shinra's strongest operatives, and split up into multiple classes or tiers of expertise. Soldier First Class are the best of the best, and Cloud was a part of them before leaving Shinra behind. Cloud is currently on a job helping a splinter group of the known eco-terrorist organization, Avalanche. They believe Shinra should not be harvesting Mako energy, as it is the literal lifeblood of the planet. Signs of degradation are shown in areas where Mako is being pumped, and in order for future generations to not pay the ultimate price, Avalanche wants to put a stop to Shinra and free the planet from them. This particular group are led by Barrett, a gruff-looking man with a gun for an arm. Joining him on this mission are Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. Their group splintered off the main Avalanche branch for being too extreme, so they have no support from their peers. Needing a little bit of extra muscle for this mission, Cloud was brought in on the recommendation from a friend. And this is where our story begins. The mission begins with the party breaking into Mako Reactor 1 from the train station. Barrett does not take kindly to Cloud, as he is an ex-Shinra guard dog, and does not truly believe he has shed his loyalties to his former master. Cloud is cold to Barrett and his crew, as he clearly states he is not here to make friends, and only in it for the money. He does not care what happens to the planet.
It doesn't rest, and it doesn't care! You do realize what Mako is, don't you? Mako is the lifeblood of our world. The planet bleeds green like you and me bleed red. The hell you think's gonna happen when it's all gone, huh? Answer me! You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the planet crying out in pain? I know you can!
You really hear that?
Damn straight I do!
Get help.
Say that again!
Cloud's attitude annoys Barrett greatly, but puts up with it in order to complete their goal. And that goal is to shut down Mako Reactor 1 by planting a bomb in the pump core to disable it. It goes off with very little resistance until Cloud and Barrett reach the core. Barrett pushes Cloud into arming the bomb so that he can prove to him he truly has left Shinra behind. As Cloud complies, he begins to lose his vision and his head starts to hurt. Then all he sees is a black feather slowly falling to the ground. Suddenly, the two are attacked by a large robotic scorpion, sent in by Shinra to defend the reactor. The battle takes a toll on the innards of the reactor as everything begins to burn down. The bomb is fully armed and they make their escape into the city. While underground escaping, the reactor explodes, sending out a huge shockwave throughout Midgar and destroying sections of sectors 1 and 8. Jesse is confused as the bomb should have only disabled the pump and not caused such a large chain reaction. The team walks out into the city to see the devastation they had wrought. Buildings and roads on the brink of total collapse. Fires spread throughout the city. Newscasts play announcing a state of emergency. All is known is that intruders entered the reactor and set off an explosion. The crew is unable to come to terms that they caused such a wave of destruction. Cloud tells them what is done and that they have to move forward. Barrett agrees with Cloud and gives a speech to rally their spirits, as this is for the betterment of the world and everyone on it. Nothing worth fighting for was ever won without sacrifice.
You may not be crying out. I know you're in pain, just like the planet. But it's okay, because I'm here for you, to help take the load off your shoulders. Your fears, your worries, your concerns, and yes, your fees. Whatever your I got you.
So, what's our next move, boss?
That's easy enough. We get our asses home.
The team quickly separates and plan to meet on the next train going to the slums. Cloud walks through the wreckage of the upper plate, the large reactor looming over the distance. The people are displaced, in shock, and scared. Civilians are trapped in burning and collapsing buildings. As Cloud is making his way to the train station, he begins to have visions of a man cloaked in black, standing over a burning village. Midgar begins to warp around Cloud, changing from a modern cityscape into the same village. He confronts the man and exclaims that he cannot be real, that he had killed him with his own hands. This man is named Sephiroth. Sephiroth says he needs no reminder that he was killed, but that was then and this is now. He tells Cloud he needs a favor from him. He warns Cloud that the planet is dying, and that is the thing connecting the two of them together. Sephiroth does not want that and asks Cloud to live on. He then taunts Cloud by describing the death of his mother. Cloud attacks him and is jolted back into reality. He believes that he may be hallucinating due to breathing in too much Mako during the mission. He quickly gets his composure and continues moving towards the station. He eventually comes upon a flower girl flailing her arms around as if she were being attacked. Cloud begins to step forward when again time stops. A hand appears on the woman's shoulder and Sephiroth briefly shows up again, saying,
"You are too weak to save anyone. Not even yourself."
Are you okay? Hey, are you okay?
Cloud snaps out of it as soon as he realizes the flower girl is asking if he's okay. He tells her he's fine and attempts to brush her off and move along. But then again, she begins to flail, touching Cloud this time. He is then able to see the invisible specters harassing the poor woman. Guards hear the commotion and show up, but they are unable to see the enemy. The flower girl quickly thanks Cloud for the help and runs off with the specters in tow. A brawl then breaks out and Cloud makes his way to the train station. He is able to get on the train just in time. The crew is happy to see that he made it. He then asks the team if they had ever seen invisible enemies, but then they just brush it off as possibly a new sort of Shinra weapon.
Wait. Got a question for you all.
What?
Ever been attacked by an invisible enemy?
What?
Wearing robes. Came and went like the wind.
Thought they were invisible.
They were, at first. Only saw them after she grabbed me.
A new Shinra weapon, maybe?
More like a panic-induced hallucination.
Never mind. Forget I said anything.
Suit yourself. Come on, let's move up.
The team arrive in Sector 7, where their home base is located, a bar known as 7th Heaven. This bar is run by a childhood friend of Cloud's, and Avalanche member Tifa.
You made it. Where'd you get that? I can't remember the last time I saw a real one. Huh? How sweet. When did you get so thoughtful?
A guy can change. Has been 5 years.
Huh?
I need to talk to Barrett.
Right. Come on in.
The mission complete, Cloud is yet to be paid. Before he can confront Barrett about it, he accidentally scares his daughter Marlene. Barrett gets annoyed with Cloud and tells him to get away from his daughter. Being preoccupied with his daughter, Cloud brings up his grievance with Tifa, who asks him to meet him outside, where she leads him to an apartment he can stay at while he's in town. She then mentions to Cloud that they can only pay him 500 of his 2,000. The rest would have to come from tomorrow after payments are collected from their filter business. Cloud agrees to help Tifa, and the two spend the next day together exploring Sector 7. In the middle of the night, Cloud hears bumping and groaning in the next room over. He opens the door and begins to hallucinate Sephiroth lunging at him. Cloud is about to attack, but Tifa comes out of her room and yells at Cloud to stop. The hallucination touches Cloud again, giving him another vision. A group of black cloaked figures walking through a wasteland, whispering to themselves. Cloud snaps back into his senses. In place of Sephiroth was a sickly looking man with a tattoo of the number 49 on his shoulder. Tifa explains that the man's name is Marco, a local resident, and she regularly checks up on him to see if he's doing okay, and asks Cloud to do the same. The next morning, Cloud and Tifa meet up to explore the town and collect Cloud's money. As they are collecting, she suggests Cloud should do favors around town to build up his reputation, as currently no one's going to hire a mercenary they don't know. The two spend most of their day doing odd jobs around Sector 7.
Tifa, my dear, dear girl. Oh, what's he doing here?
Working?
Be nice. Cloud's helping me with collections.
You better take care of her.
I'm pretty good at taking care of myself, you know.
That I do. Still, better him than you. No charm, no wit. Big sword, but no skills.
I've got skills.
They eventually head back to 7th Heaven, where Barrett awaits. He lets Tifa know that the next plan is set and that they need to go over it. Cloud is not invited to the meeting and waits for Barrett to finish so he can get the last of his money. Tifa is the first out of the meeting room. She grabs herself a drink and sits down. She was never on board with the bombings and is now beginning to have second thoughts. She confides in Cloud how she feels trapped. She wants to help change the world for the better, but not at the cost of people's lives. The rest of the team leave the meeting room. Barrett walks up to Cloud and gives him the last of his money. He tells him that he will not be needed on the next mission. Jessie explains to Cloud she wanted to bring him along, but they did not want to put so much on his shoulders. This was their fight, not his. She tells Cloud they should talk more after she's done with the team. Cloud leaves the building and heads towards his apartment. He bumps into some goons asking questions about a man with a gun for an arm. He baits the henchmen into a secluded area where he quickly dispatches them. He later then arrives to his apartment where Jessie is waiting. She has a job for Cloud. Biggs and Wedge catch on that Jessie is acting suspiciously and join on her personal mission. She explains that she wants to steal a blasting agent from a Shinra warehouse. This agent should be a lot weaker than the last one she used, as she does not want a repeat of the last reactor explosion. She only wishes to disable the reactor. Jessie's parents live on the Sector 7 plate. Her father worked at the Mako reactor nearby. Due to exhaustion, he passed out in Mako's storage. He laid there for half a day before he was found, leaving him in a vegetative state. This is known as Mako poisoning.
Mako poisoning. Happened while Jessie was doing a show with the Gold Saucer. What do you care?
No. I want to hear it.
Jessie always wanted to be an actress. Worked her ass off for years. Until finally she caught a break. Top billing. Parents were thrilled. And then, right before opening night,
her dad had an accident.
Collapsed from overwork. And in the worst possible place, Mako's storage. Lay there half a day before someone found him. Been like that ever since. No change whatsoever. That's what got her into planetology. And led her to seek out Avalanche. How far we've come.
Jessie's got a theory about it. Thinks her dad's spirit is stuck now, between his body and the heart of the planet. So if we don't shut down the reactors soon...
He'll get caught up in the flow and poof. What's so funny?
Just that I understand how you feel. Unlike most of the time.
I see.
In order to get into the warehouse, Jessie wants to use her father's Shinra ID card. Jessie distracts her mother as if she was visiting, while Cloud sneaks into the back and steals the card from her father's uniform. They then head to the Shinra base. With Cloud, Biggs, and Wedge's help, the group is able to distract the Shinra guards while Jessie snuck in to steal the blasting agent. They then head back to the slums via parachuting down to the bottom. Cloud heads back to his apartment where Tifa comes knocking. She asks if Cloud would be leaving anytime soon. He tells her that he has this friend who's in trouble and that he had made a promise a long time ago that he'd be there for them. Cloud is referencing a promise he made to Tifa in their childhood before he left to become a soldier. She had asked Cloud to come back if she was ever in trouble. Tifa expresses how good it feels to have Cloud back in her life after so many years, and that she will see him tomorrow before she leaves for her mission. The next morning, Cloud awakes to a commotion. The sector is being attacked by the Black Phantoms from earlier, but only now everyone can see them. The Phantoms surround Jessie and Barrett in front of the 7th Heaven. Tifa and Cloud make their way towards them, being pushed back by Phantoms at every turn. Once they arrive, Jessie is jumped by one of them and taken down. The Phantoms quickly begin to disperse and scatter. Everyone is confused on what just happened. Barrett believes it may be a side effect of the Mako reactors, blaming Shinra.
Guess I shouldn't be surprised, though. Never can tell what weird shit'll come crawling out of the scrap down here. It's those reactors, I'm telling you.
It hurt?
Wish I could say it didn't, but yeah.
Cloud walks up to Jessie and notices her leg is significantly hurt and carries her into the bar. She is now unable to walk and is no longer on the mission. Cloud takes her place in her stead. The team of Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa get on the train to Sector 5. The plan is to ride the train using fake IDs, and from there, they would have a straight shot to the reactor. Things do not go according to plan, as the train is raided by Shinra bots after the IDs fail the scan. The team jumps off the train and are stranded between sectors. Barrett thankfully had multiple routes planned in case of failure. Cloud and company travel through the underground sections of Midgar's plate until they reach their destination. Biggs is waiting there, already scouted the location and with their gear in hand. They enter the reactor with little to no resistance. Before Cloud is able to arm the bomb, his head begins to ring, and again he has a vision. This time of Tifa crying over the body of a man.
Soldiers, Mako, Shinra. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of all of this.
Hey, Soldier Boy.
Tifa.
What?
Cloud snaps back into reality and calls out to Tifa. She is confused for a second, then he just brushes it off and moves on. The bomb is set. The chief of public security, Heidegger, then reveals that he has set up a trap for Avalanche. His plan is to publicly crush Avalanche using Shinra's latest machine, the Airbuster. The team is able to make their way through Shinra's goons and arrive at a bridge crossroad, where they are confronted by the projection of President Shinra, where he reveals they are using Avalanche's actions as a way to stoke the fires of war against the nation of Wutai, feeding the public that Avalanche is working through them and causing their suffering. His image disappears and Heidegger takes over the show. He unleashes the Airbuster, hacks the bomb, and sets the time detonator to go off way sooner than Barrett had intended to. They fight and successfully destroy the Airbuster, but in doing so, destroying the bridge. Barrett takes Tifa away at Cloud's behest, and he is knocked off into the lower sector from the reactor's explosion.
Hey, buddy. You okay? Yeah. Made it through with just a couple of scraped knees back then. Back then? What do you say? doing this? Have we? Never mind about that. Right now, you need to focus on yourself. Move something. Anything. Why not? Good. Easy does it. Slow. And steady. Yeah. Hey, who are you? Who are you?
I am your everything.
Hello in there.
Oh, Cloud. There's still so much to be done.
He lives. Finally awake, are we?
You're...
Cloud awakens to the voice of a young woman. Her name is Aerith, the young flower girl from the start of the game. She explains that the church's roof and the flower bed broke his fall. She then hands him a materia he had dropped and says she has one too, that it was a gift from her mother, claiming it's special as it doesn't do anything. Cloud again has vague visions of a materia falling in a pool of water. The two are interrupted by a young man with red hair wearing a black suit, followed by some Shinra goons. This man is named Reno, and he is part of the Turks, Shinra's lapdogs and special agents. From the sound of it, they are here to take Aerith away. Aerith hires Cloud as her bodyguard on the spot and promises to take him on a date as payment. Cloud, being who he is, protects the girl who's in danger. He successfully defeats Reno and his henchmen, but is interrupted by the Black Phantoms again as he was about to strike the killing blow. The Phantoms pick up Aerith and Cloud and carry them into the next room. The church is now swarming with the Phantoms, but it seems only the two of them can see them. After giving Reno the runaround, they successfully escape him. Aerith points out that there's a nearby station and leads Cloud in that direction. The two bond as they travel through the abandoned wreckage near the church. When they arrive, a Shinra helicopter lands nearby, dropping off another Turk member, Rude. Aerith and Cloud, not knowing if he's looking for either of them, decide to go into a monster-infested route instead to avoid him. Eventually, the two make it to Aerith's home in one piece, where we are introduced to Aerith's mother, Elmira. Cloud successfully completed his bodyguard duties and plans to go to Sector 7. Aerith offers to take him herself as she gets the feeling he would get lost. Cloud tries to deny her help, but is completely unsuccessful. Elmira asks them to go in the morning, and in the meantime, she would get dinner ready. During this time, Aerith and Cloud do odd jobs for the local residents. Aerith is clearly loved and known by the community around her. After finishing up, the two head back home when they are intercepted by Rude. A brawl breaks out, but it is interrupted by a call from Reno, telling his partner that they need to be on standby for a new job. Rude leaves, telling Aerith to stay home, and she of course denies him. The two arrive home and prepare for dinner. While Aerith is preparing the guest room, Elmira begs Cloud to leave tonight without Aerith, saying that soldiers gave up their chance at a normal life in exchange for power. They cannot have it both ways. Aerith comes back into the room to an awkward silence. Cloud wakes up in the middle of the night and sneaks out, Elmira waiting for him down below. She gives him directions on how to get to Sector 7 and asks him to promise that he will never talk to Aerith again. He agrees and heads off towards Sector 6. But his promise is short-lived, as Aerith is waiting for Cloud at Sector 6's entrance, claiming she is not sick of Cloud just yet. Cloud, knowing it's a losing battle, agrees to have Aerith guide him to Sector 7. As she begins to walk away, Cloud's vision gets hazy and his head starts to ring. Then a single tear falls from his eye. Aerith asks if Cloud is okay. He hides his face, says he's fine, and moves down the path. After passing through packs of monsters and thugs, they eventually arrive at the border of Sector 6 and 7, located in front of a children's park. Sector 7 is sealed off by a large metallic wall. Cloud asks how he can get past the wall, but Aerith ignores his question and tells him the two should take a break. He tries to let on that he doesn't have time, but stays a bit longer at her request. The two sit on top of a children's slide looking at the surrounding area. Aerith gets in close and asks Cloud if he truly was in Soldier First Class. He confirms her answer, and she says that it's weird because the first man she ever fell in love with was in Soldier First Class as well. Cloud can see how sad the topic is making her and asks what his name was. Maybe the two have bumped into each other at some point. As Aerith says a name, Cloud's head begins to ring, and again his vision blurs. She notices Cloud is in pain and gets in close to see if he's okay. She then comments on his eyes. He mentions it's from the Mako and that all members of Soldier have them. She says she knows, again clearly thinking of the past. Aerith thinks she's being a bit of a bummer and decides to move on and get Cloud on his way. She shows him an underground passage he can take nearby. Just before he's about to head out, the large gates open and a chocobo with a carriage passes through. Cloud then notices the passenger is Tifa and immediately chases after her. Tifa is relieved that Cloud is alive and lets him know that she's going in to investigate the local crime lord, Don Corneo, as he's been asking questions about Bear and Avalanche. She is going in on her own and is currently en route to his mansion. Cloud offers to help, but she tells him to head back to Sector 7, that everyone will be relieved to see him and that she can take care of herself. Cloud listens and lets his friend go on ahead. As he's about to turn back, Aerith jumps in the way and tells him he's going in after her. He argues that she's really strong and she'll be fine on her own. Aerith disagrees, as they don't know Corneo, and you think you're strong, but he will find a way to hurt you or someone you love. She's headed into a mansion filled with his goons and asks Cloud if he's not worried. He agrees that he is and turns around chasing after the carriage. They arrive at a stable and speak to the owner, Chocobo Sam. He lets the two know that Tifa was chosen as a candidate for the new Mrs. Corneo, and she won't be seeing anyone for quite some time. The two, having no other leads, head into the town directly. The town is known as Wall Market, the slums red light district. This bed of lawlessness was literally walled off by Shinra. As crime was so bad in the area, rather than deal with it, they enclosed it, and currently, Don Corneo rules over the area as a head kingpin. They head directly to the Don's mansion, where they are stopped by one of the Don's henchmen, Leslie. He informs them that no men are allowed in the premises. Aerith asks if she can enter, but Leslie warns her against it. His goons eye up Aerith and agree that she may be a good choice for Don Corneo. Leslie again tries to change Aerith's mind, but eventually gives up to her persistence. He informs her that if she wants an audition, she needs an official approval from one of the other three rulers in Wall Market, the trio. So after getting an expensive hand massage, winning a tournament, and a little bit of cross-dressing, the two go back to the mansion and show Leslie the letters. Once inside, they're escorted to the back room, where it's immediately filled with knockout gas. Cloud wakes up to the sight of a concerned Tifa and asks if she's okay. She nods, then a few moments later she realizes who she's speaking to.
Good.
Wait a minute. Cloud? Is that you? Oh my god, that makeup and that dress!
Nailed it, I know, thank you. Moving on.
Aerith wakes up next and introduces herself to Tifa. Cloud wants to leave immediately, but Tifa refuses to leave before she gets any more info from Corneo. After some time, the Don's henchmen take them upstairs where they will have their audition. The Don finally shows himself and creepily eyes the three candidates. Cloud singles himself out by not taking any of his crap and being rude, and is then chosen. The Don sends the other two as scraps for his men in the other room. As the goons are about to get started, Aerith and Tifa quickly dispatch them.
4 guys between us. Okay, let's not keep Cloud waiting.
Right.
Wait. I know you. The Colosseum.
What the hell?
Get down!
Oh, you stupid! Wait!
Leslie then walks into the room with her combat ear, saying it was a request from one of the trio, Andrea. Tifa and Aerith head to Corneo's room, where he is still being a creepy gremlin. So far, Cloud has swatted all of his advances, until the girls have finally come in to back him up. He changes back into his regular clothes, and they begin to interrogate the Don, threatening to cut, smash, and rip off his genitals. He reveals that Shinra has a plan to destroy Avalanche completely, by taking out the support pillar, and have the plate come crashing down on their heads. Tifa is shocked that Shinra would even think of this idea, and they quickly turn around to go to Sector 7. But before they can leave, Corneo distracts the group so he can set off a trap and drop the party into the below sewers. Down in the sewers, the party is attacked by Corneo's pet. They handle the monster and make their way to Sector 7, having to escape the sewer and then go through a haunted train station. When they arrive, a battle can be seen in the distance on the pillar. Barrett and the rest of Avalanche are fighting to protect it. Tifa rushes on ahead, but she is stopped by a wave of black phantoms. Aerith begs for them to let them through, but there is no response. After much fighting, the phantoms eventually disperse, some even heading to the top of the pillar. As they arrive closer to the pillar, the battle ensues and they watch as Wedge falls multiple stories down. He's still alive, but he's out of the fight. Cloud heads up on his own as they patch up Wedge. After fighting waves and waves of Shinra troops, he catches up with Biggs. He is severely wounded. Biggs asks if Wedge is okay and asks Cloud to promise him that it wasn't all for nothing. He gives Cloud a goodbye and good luck and closes his eyes. Cloud heads higher up, but is harassed by Reno and Rude in their helicopter, slowing him down. We cut down to Aerith and Tifa at the bottom. Tifa feels that she just can't sit here and watch everything happen, and heads towards the top of the pillar. Before she leaves, she tells Aerith about Marlene, and asks her to get her to safety. Aerith promises, and Wedge agrees to lead her. Before they get to the bar, they arrive to see a group of people trying to get past some Shinra guards to take the path to Sector 6. Wedge begs them to open the gate, but gets pushed aside. He is saddened and feels like he's no help at all. There is this itching feeling that everyone is due for a reckoning, and the situation that they're currently in is really bad. Aerith tells him she feels the same way, and gives Wedge the courage he needs to get back up to try to convince the guards again. He gives a persuasive speech to the guards, and one of them opens the gate, refusing his superior officer's orders. The people then begin to evacuate. Aerith heads to 7th Heaven on her own, while Wedge helps with the evacuation. Chaos ensues as civilians try to take the underground passage to Wall Market. Debris from the current battle begin to fall and crash into the town itself. Fires spread. Eventually, Aerith is able to make it to the 7th Heaven and find Marlene. She's hiding behind the bar crying. She lets her know that she's a friend of Tifa's. The young girl is terrified and hesitant as the world around her is crumbling. Aerith comforts her and lets her know that things are going to be okay. They embrace, and a familiar ringing and loss of vision come across the screen. Marlene lets go of her completely calm, and Aerith simply holds her finger to her lips, signifying a secret between the two. As they're about to leave, they are intercepted by Seng, one of the other Turks. Seng lets her know that her options are limited. She agrees and offers Seng a deal. Knowing what she means, he escorts the two to the nearby chopper. We cut back to Cloud being shot at by the other Turks. Tifa arrives to help, but before she can be shot at, Rude's hand slips, throwing off Reno's aim. Reno is surprised at what just happened, but Rude just plays it off as an accident. Cloud and Tifa make it to near the top where they find Jessie, wounded from a blast and covered in debris. She confides in Cloud that the bombs were her doing, and that she deserved what was coming to her. Only known to the player, it was clear that Jessie's bombs never caused the destruction of the first reactor. It was in fact Shinra, who destroyed the reactor themselves after seeing the bomb only disable a pump. It was all in order to plant further seeds of chaos and stoke the fires of war against Wutai. Jessie passes away. Tifa and Cloud mourn the loss of their friend, but have to quickly move on, as Barrett is fighting off Reno and Rude alone at the top of the pillar. A brawl breaks out.
It's nothing personal, bitch!
Reno successfully types in the plate separation codes, but is unable to finalize, as he's interrupted by Cloud. Our heroes win the fight, but Rude makes a last-ditch effort for the switch. Before he can be stopped, he's protected by black phantoms. Rude hits the switch, then grabs Reno and escapes. While trying to stop the command, the terminal switches to a live feed of Sang, who informs them that their efforts are in vain. In the video, Aerith is with them. She quickly blurts out that she found Marlene and that she's safe. Sang thanks the party for bringing the Ancient to him and announces that their sector is now condemned. The plates begin to separate and the party looks for a safe way out. Tifa is in shock, looking over the landscape. Cloud grabs her and leads her to safety. Barrett finds a zip line that should take them out of the sector. The party grabs on and narrowly escapes the destruction. Tifa awakens next to Cloud, surrounded by rubble. They then find Barrett in front of what used to be the Sector 7 gate.
Marlene! 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 Biggs! Wedge! Jessie! God damn it! God damn you! God damn Marlene. Marlene.
It was us. We did this.
No. You can't think like that. Whatever came before it was Shinra that pulled the trigger today. Am I right?
Yeah.
Hold on to this anger, okay?
Cloud gives Tifa and Barrett a moment together before he informs them that Marlene should be safe. From the sounds of it, Aerith was able to reach her in time. Barrett confirms if that was the girl they took and asks what the heck is going on. Tifa updates him that she was the one who asked Aerith to get Marlene. Barrett turns to Cloud and asks if he's absolutely sure, but he doesn't give him an answer. Cloud's logic is that Aerith would most likely take Marlene to her home and hopes that she's there. On the way, Cloud asks Tifa about ancients, and then he has another vision.
Hey, Tifa, know anything about ancients?
I know I've heard of them at least.
They come up in planetology books. Meant to be the original stewards of the planet. Could even commune with it, talk to it and stuff.
That must be why the Turks wanted her so badly.
Within my veins flows the blood of ancients. This planet is my birthright. You have failed again, I see. But through suffering, you will grow strong. Isn't that what you want?
Cloud?
Tifa could clearly see Cloud is in fear of someone who is not there. Tifa walks up to Cloud, but he claims it's nothing and moves on. On the way, Barrett asks if they had seen the others. Tifa informs him of their condition and that they were in really bad shape. Wedge was not in the tower and most likely made it out. Barrett expresses that he would very much like to look for the others once they confirm Marlene is okay. Tifa is surprised by this request, but agrees to help anyways, alongside Cloud. They arrive at Aerith's home. Barrett bursts in yelling, "Where's Marlene?" Elmira, clearly confused and afraid. Cloud turns to calm Barrett down. Barrett then slowly explains who he is and gives a description of his daughter. Elmira confirms that Marlene is here and that she's asleep upstairs. The party goes upstairs and makes sure she's okay. Sometime later, they head downstairs while Elmira explains Shinra has Aerith now. Tifa blames herself as she feels like she took advantage of Aerith's kindness. Even though they just met, Elmira tells her not to blame herself, as it was only a matter of time before Aerith ended up back in Shinra's clutches. She confirms to the party that Aerith is indeed an ancient, and most likely the last living one, and explains how they met. While waiting at the train station for her husband to come back from the war, she bumped into a dying mother and her daughter. At the time, she thought they were a family who had fallen on some hard times. Aerith's mother grabs Elmira's hand and begs her to take Aerith somewhere safe, and then passes away. Elmira keeps the girl with her and raises her as her own. Aerith was an odd girl growing up. One day, she approached Elmira and asked her not to be sad, as someone she loved passed away very far away, and their soul came by to say goodbye before they returned to the planet. She didn't believe her initially, but a few days later, she received a letter that her husband had been killed in action. The two lived happily together until eventually Aerith was tracked down by Shinra. Shinra believes that Aerith has the ability to lead them to the promised land from the scriptures. In order for this to work, they believe Aerith must do so willingly. That is the reason she has not been taken for so many years, until now. They informed Elmira that once they got what they needed, they would bring Aerith back. Cloud doubts it and begins to head out to save her. Elmira begs Cloud to stop, as to not escalate the issue further. Tifa agrees that maybe they should wait a little bit before heading off, as it's possible they may honor their word. Meanwhile, Barrett suggests they should go back to Sector 7 and take care of business there. The party takes the secret underground passage from Sector 6 to Sector 7. When they arrive, they can see people scavenging through the debris, trying to help anyone who's still out there. Barrett and Tifa find the 7th Heaven sign, with the rest of the bars flattened. They do hear a meowing cat, and decide to follow it. It leads them to a hole in the ground near where Wedge used to live. This was one of Wedge's cats. The party go down the hole to find a secret Shinra lab. Wedge can be seen on the other side of some glass, but the party gets separated as the floor beneath them gives away. Barrett is eventually able to find Tifa after exploring the underground lab. Wedge is then found and confirmed alive and put in a safe place, as humanoid monsters swarm the two. The duo fight off the wave of monsters, eventually defeating their leader. Cloud arrives to get the final blow and finish the fight. The team finds a hidden room filled with rows of human experiments. It's presumed that these monsters were failed experiments as well. Cloud looks in on the experiments and has a vision.
Yeah, that's the Shinra I know.
Cloud?
Before he can make sense of it, the Black Phantoms again appear and push the party out of the lab. They wake up all outside the lab with Wedge beside them. They gather up and start heading out of Sector 7. Barrett stops midway through and asks Cloud to take Wedge, as he's going to go back and look for Biggs and Jesse. Cloud lets him know the truth. They were in critical condition before the plate fell, and most likely dead.
I'm sorry, but...
Don't.
They've returned to the planet.
They were supposed to return to us.
Barrett takes a moment to go over in his head what this all means. He wishes his friends had come back to him, but he has to keep on moving forward, or else he would never hear the end of it from them. They take Wedge back to Aerith's home. Cloud reopens his case with Elmira. Shinra is never going to let her go. They would go as far as doing human experiments on her if they have to, just like they saw a little while ago, especially with their current head scientist, Hojo. Elmira cuts Cloud off and tells them she needs some time to think. They must be tired and should get some rest. The next morning, Barrett thanks Elmira for everything she's done for them, and the party asks her again. They want to help their friend. She gives the team her blessing, and the party heads out to save Aerith. Since Don Corneo had close ties to Shinra, they believe he's most likely to know how to get to the upper plate undetected. Once they arrive at his mansion, they find Leslie in Corneo's room. He says he believes he knows the way. He shows them the entrance to the sewer, stating he has unfinished business with Corneo, and if the team helps him, he would help them. Down in the sewers, eventually it's revealed that he has a grudge with Corneo, as Corneo chose a girl Leslie once loved as his wife. Knowing her fate, the woman broke things off with Leslie, and she went missing a day later. Once the team reached Corneo's hideout, they entrapped him by using Leslie's betrayal as bait, but Corneo slips away again, using his pet monster to distract the party. Once the monster was dealt with, they chased after Corneo, who is long gone. Leslie says it's fine, as he'll never stop hunting him down. Tifa instead urges Leslie to search for the woman, as she could still be out there somewhere. Leslie thinks about it and agrees to set his grudge aside for now, and look for her. He then shows the party outside to a nearby wall. He hands them some supercharged grappling hooks. Using them, they will be able to climb the Sector 7 wreckage, but it's a one-way trip. Leslie wishes them good luck, and they part ways. And before the team set out, they have one last conversation.
So, when this is over, you gonna go on being a merc?
That's the plan.
Reckon it suits you.
Yeah, it does.
Used to think you were a little shit with a big attitude and a bigger inferiority complex. Quite possibly the worst person I have ever met. But that was before I figured you out. All this, it ain't you.
Deep down, you're a pretty nice guy. Didn't see it when we were kids, but...
Don't know about any of that. But kindness is no use on the battlefield. If anything, it's a liability.
Hey, no one's asking you to treat Shinra with kid gloves.
Aerith's up there waiting for us.
Then we better get a move on, huh?
Ready?
Party arrives on the top of the Sector 7 plate. The city is in ruins and completely unstable, but there are still survivors trying to make their way. Shinra is patrolling the area, looking for any survivors of Avalanche. It is still widely believed that Avalanche were the masterminds behind the separating of the plates. Near the top, the team take a moment to take in the view, as the destruction can be seen for miles. They remain hopeful, as Barrett mentions building another bar when things are over. Tifa agrees. After a climactic battle with the Shinra robot patrol, the party arrives outside of Shinra HQ. The front gates are swarming with guards, as if they're expecting to be attacked. Barrett wants to do a frontal assault, but Cloud has a better plan, by sneaking in on one of the transportation vehicles and getting in through the parking garage. The plan for the most part works, but the team has to deal with a few guards. Luckily, once they enter the main hall, it looks like no alarms were triggered. Using the front desk, Tifa finds Hojo's lab on the 65th floor. This is most likely where they're holding Aerith. The keycard they found will only take them to the 59th floor. Once on the 59th floor, Tifa gets the feeling that things are going too well, as they have yet to trigger any alarms or panic. The keycard they found seems like it was meant for tours, as it will only take them to the 63rd floor. So in order to progress through each floor, they must follow the automated tour. Floor 60 is the Midgar Memorial Museum, an automated tour that gives more info on President Shinra and the various divisions of the Shinra Corporation. In the center is a large-scale model of the city of Midgar.
This is Midgar, our home, recreated in 1/10,000th scale. As you can see here, the 8 Mako reactors form a ring around the center of our city and keep Midgar running day and night. The Mako which flows beneath our feet is a truly limitless resource. At Shinra, we have developed technologies to extract it and transform it into the fuel and electricity that powers everything we do. Thanks to the miracle of Mako energy, our lives are richer and better than ever before. Mako keeps our lights on at night and made Midgar into the city that never sleeps. A triumph of technology and testament to man's potential.
The video annoys Barrett, claiming it's all bullshit and lies. Cloud disagrees, as that it is true Mako has made people's lives easier. But Barrett believes that their conveniences have made them blind to the truth, stating that he was the same way before, looking down at his arm. On the next floor, a virtual experience, directed by the Shinra Corporation, plays.
In the distant past, our planet was home to a people we call the Ancients. Many millennia before we discovered Mako, these precursors were already pioneering its use. Somehow they learned of the great reservoir of energy pulsing beneath their feet. And once they had, the ancients developed the means to harness this bountiful energy and bend it to their will. The fruits of their labors have survived to this very day in the form of certain kinds of materia. Their scripture, too, has endured. We who are born of the planet, with her we speak, her flesh we shape. Unto her promised land shall we one day return. By her loving grace and providence, may we take our place in paradise. Alas, the ancients themselves are long gone. 2,000 years ago, a meteor brought an end to their civilization. But before their fiery end, did the ancients find their promised land? Even now, we have only to wonder. Times have changed, and the Shinra Electric Power Company is committed to changing and evolving with them. Like the ancients, we've harnessed the power of Mako. Are they out there watching us, waiting for us to join them in some blessed corner of the world? A green and verdant land where boundless Mako energy will provide for our every need. Shinra is working for you to fulfill the hope of the ancients and lead us to that promised land. We shall not rest until our dream is realized.
Near the end, another virtual experience plays, or maybe an illusion. It is of a meteor crashing into Midgar, but oddly, the team makes no mention that Sephiroth was in the video. Leaving the VR room, the party meets Hart, assistant to the mayor of Midgar. Barrett describes him as a puppet and a mouthpiece, but it seems as though the mayor wants to meet the crew himself. He resides on the 62nd floor, the corporate archives. Domino is his name, and he reveals that he is the one who's been intercepting any calls for help or alarms. Mayor Domino is Avalanche's man on the inside and double agent. He thought that the party were part of the main branch, coming to finally take down President Shinra, so he was helping them get through. The team mentions that they are there to save a friend. Domino says that he does not mind, as long as whatever they do hurts Shinra as a whole. He helps the team access the 64th floor. On that same floor, two Shinra guards bump into Cloud. One is about to attack before he's stopped by the other.
Cloud? Huh? You're Cloud, right? Holy shit! It's cool, bro. We went through training together. Damn. So you're still alive and kicking, huh? Some of the guys heard you got smoked, but I told them it was all bullshit. Hey, sit tight, man. I'm gonna go get Kunsel. I'll be right back.
Old buddy.
You okay?
Cloud is clearly in pain, but for the millionth time, he says he is fine. The party nearly bumps into President Shinra on his way to the board meeting. They overhear that the people have bought into the Avalanche Wutai conspiracy, and Shinra has yet to hear a response from Wutai. Cloud wants to listen in on their board meeting. Their best plan is to climb into an air vent from the men's bathroom. During the meeting, it's brought to everyone's attention that there's an intruder in the building. Palmer, the head of the aerospace division, claims that he saw Sephiroth wandering the hallways. None of the board members believe him, and they move on. Next, it's revealed that President Shinra has no intention of rebuilding Sector 7, as they plan on abandoning Midgar altogether once the Promised Land is found using Aerith's help. Hojo's plan is to get her to cooperate by torturing her psychologically. Also, to mitigate any more risks, he wants to have her breed with members of Soldier for another specimen. After the meeting, the party tails Hojo and follow him to his lab. Barrett successfully takes him hostage and has him lead the party further into the lab. Hojo asks what they want, and once he realizes they are there for Aerith, he comes up with a scheme to have a lab monster kill the party and show Aerith their corpses. Once the party dispatches the monster, they follow Hojo into the next part of the lab. While taking the elevator, the camera pans to a lone beast with one eye waking up in his cell. In the next area, Aerith can be seen in her cell. Hojo has prepared a squad of soldiers to take on the party as he collects combat data. To his surprise, the soldiers are handled easily by the team. Hojo looks at Cloud and asks if he was a soldier. Cloud nods, but Hojo claims that he is not quite a soldier. He then says he recalls a memory. As Hojo starts to say too much, a wave of black phantoms take him away immediately. The party then releases Aerith from her prison. In the process, they accidentally release the beast from earlier as well. It goes on to the next room, ignoring the party, and chases after Hojo. Hojo barely escapes, taking the elevator. The beast then turns around, baring its fangs at the party. Before Barrett can pick a fight, Aerith tells him to stop, claiming the beast is a friend. She puts her hand on the beast's head, and a familiar feeling comes across the screen. The beast is immediately calm. Barrett asks what the hell it is, and it begins to talk, describing himself as he is what he is. Tifa notices a tattoo on his shoulder, the number 13. He claims it's what Hojo called him, Red 13. Tifa asks what his real name is, but she's ignored. Barrett asks if they're going to chase Hojo, but Cloud starts acting strangely. He begins walking towards the center elevator, having visions. Cloud wakes up in Aerith's room. This is where she lived with her mother years ago. Before they make their escape, Cloud asks Aerith to explain more about herself. She confirms that she is the last ancient. Their real name is the Cetra, the original stewards of the world. Shinra has been seeking the Promised Land for a very long time, and believes she can take them there. But in reality, at this very moment, she's not able to, even if she wanted, but maybe in the future, it'll come to her. Barrett says the only reason they want to go to the Promised Land is that it's rich in Mako, and they will never stop. He tells the rest of the gang to escape without him, as he plans to stop Shinra once and for all by himself. Aerith tells him he can't do that, but then black phantoms appear around her. Red 13 speaks up.
Whispers. Perhaps best described as arbiters of fate. They are drawn to those who attempt to alter destiny's course and ensure they do not.
Like capital D? Destiny?
The flow of the great river that is the planet, from inception to oblivion.
And you're saying that that flow is somehow fixed?
Yes, for it is the will of the planet itself.
From Red 13's explanation, it seems as though any time we encountered a Whisper, it was because they were trying to keep Destiny on course. For example, how they protected Rude while he separated the plates. They are there to make sure certain events happen. Barrett is confused in how Red 13 has all this information. He just explains that after Aerith touched him, the information was just there somehow. Aerith asks everyone to listen to her, but again the whispers begin to harass her. It seems anytime she's about to let on what is actually going on, the whispers touch her. She describes it as if she's losing a part of herself every time it happens. She cryptically says that Shinra is not the real threat here, and all she wants to do is help everyone and the planet. Tifa asks her to be more clear on what she's not telling everyone, but she is unable to, describing how she feels like she is navigating a maze. All she says is, "Follow them. The yellow flowers." The whispers start getting extremely aggressive around her, but Tifa is somehow able to pull her out. Suddenly, it sounds as if an explosion went off far away. It goes silent, then the nearby monitors turn on, first showing Mayor Domino, then Wedge. Then another explosion goes off. He warns the party that Avalanche HQ are attacking Shinra themselves. Due to this, the building is now on high alert and the party is locked in, but they should be able to still move around in Hojo's laboratory. Wedge tells them to head to the roof as a rescue helicopter will be there to pick them up. Barrett is annoyed Wedge is out of bed, not recuperating, but he says he'll chew him out later. Everyone heads over to the main elevator in the lab and takes it to the 68th floor. Red 13 describes this floor as Hojo's treasure and Shinra's dark secret. In the center is a giant tube containing some sort of fossil that is in the shape of a woman. It has no head, and instead some sort of contraption with the name Genova inscribed upon it. Cloud's head begins to ring and the pain comes back, having flashbacks of what seems to be the past. Tifa checks in on Cloud, then suddenly the whole party can see Sephiroth as well. Cloud asks if it's truly him. He only says, "Don't deny me, embrace me." Cloud attacks and Sephiroth successfully blocks it and knocks him down to the lower floors. He wakes up separated from the rest of his friends. Red 13 gets to Cloud first, stating everyone else is far away. They are harassed by more human experiments that escaped due to the fight with Sephiroth. Barrett is the next party member found, fighting off some more experiments. Eventually, they're able to reconnect with Aerith and Tifa through phones in the lab. Hojo contacts the party and puts them through a series of trials to collect combat data. They have no other choice but to go along with this game. Once all the trials are defeated, Hojo turns the elevators back on, telling himself he's collected enough data to move on to the next stage. On a nearby monitor, Sephiroth can be seen walking off with Jenova in his arms. Reconnected back together, they arrive where Jenova was contained, but she is now gone. A trail of black ooze leads to the roof and President Shinra's office. The office is completely empty. Sephiroth nowhere to be found. A shattered pane of glass can be seen, as if though someone was thrown through it. Once investigated, the party finds President Shinra hanging off the ledge, pleading for help. Barret savors the moment, taunting the president and threatening to drop him off the edge. Aerith and Tifa plead Barret to stop. He throws the president back onto the platform, and he begins to scramble towards his desk as Barret follows, preaching to him that he will tell the people the truth, that Shinra dropped the plate, and that Avalanche is not Wutai or anyone's puppet. The president pulls a gun on Barret, giving him one last chance to take his offer for saving his life and leave. But while the two argue, Sephiroth suddenly appears behind the president and stabs him in the back. Whispers immediately fly into the room, trying to keep Barret and Sephiroth separated, but Sephiroth is somehow able to phase through the Whispers and stab Barret in the stomach. The Whispers surround Barret and Sephiroth both. Sephiroth swipes the ones on him away with his sword. He then pulses a dark aura, pulling the rest of the party into what seems to be another world. Red 13 tells the party to stay calm as it's just an illusion. Sephiroth transforms into Jenova Dreamweaver, and a battle breaks out. Once defeated, the illusion dissipates, and Marco from Sector 7 appears, then disintegrates. It seems as though he was the Sephiroth that pulled out Jenova's body. Before anyone can react, Sephiroth appears again, and takes the body outside to the roof, to the absolute pinnacle. Barret's wounds are healed by one of the Whispers, Red 13 claiming this death was not the one ordained to him by fate, so the Whispers interfered. Cloud follows Sephiroth to the pinnacle. As he's about to reach him, Whispers interfere again. The illusion of Sephiroth fades away, and his place is another man in a black cloak with a number 2 tattooed on his arm. The man dives off the edge into the darkness. The party reconvene at the helipad. The Avalanche helicopter is above, ready to evacuate them, but before it can land, it's shot down by a Shinra helicopter. The helicopter lands, and the vice president of Shinra steps off, Rufus. Barret plans to stay behind and try to take out the family once and for all, but Cloud stops him and tells him to take the others and go, as he'll buy everyone time to escape. Barret accepts his request, but tells Cloud he better be right behind them. The rest of the party heads for the elevator. A one-on-one duel between Rufus and Cloud breaks out. Cloud successfully disarms Rufus, but he makes his escape with the helicopter, claiming that tonight marks a new beginning for Shinra. Shots from the helicopter almost knock Cloud off the roof, but Tifa comes back in time to save him. We cut back to Aerith, Barret, and Red. They are attacked by a Shinra machine while on the elevator, and it comes crashing down to the bottom floor. Meanwhile, Wedge was infiltrating the building and sees the trio fall down, but before he can help, he is attacked by Whispers. The screen cuts to black, and all we can hear is glass shattering and Wedge saying sorry to Cloud, and that he hopes he made a difference. Back to Team Barret, they are chased down to the lobby by the killer robot, but together they eventually dismantle it. Once they reach the front gate, they are surrounded by Shinra guards, with Heidegger leading them. Heidegger gives the order to shoot, but Cloud and Tifa come in the nick of time to help them escape. The party take their stolen vehicles and jump onto the Midgar highway from the window. As they drive down the highway, thousands of Whispers begin to surround the Shinra building. We cut to Rufus, exploring the building as it's filling with Whispers. He is the only one able to see them. He gives the command to give chase to Cloud and his team, and a highway speed chase ensues. After defeating all their enemies, the party makes it to the edge of the unfinished highway, leading out of Midgar. As they approach the edge, Sephiroth comes floating down from above.
And you're wrong.
Those who look with clouded eyes see nothing but shadows.
Everything about you is wrong.
All born are bound to her. Should this world be unmade, so too shall her children.
The world won't end today. But you will.
Listen. Destiny comes.
drag our asses all this way. This is the welcome we get. Boy, oh boy. The price of freedom is steep. Embrace your dreams. And whatever happens, protect your honor. As a soldier! Come and get it!
I'm waiting, clown.
This is the point of no return. Destiny's crossroads.
And why did you stop me?
I'm not really sure.
What will we find on the other side?
Freedom. Boundless, terrifying freedom. Like a great, never-ending sky. What you heard just now were the voices of the planet. Those born into this world, who lived and who died, who returned. They're howling in pain.
Because of him, Sephiroth?
Their words, they don't reach him. All these moments and memories, precious and fleeting, they're like rain rolling off his back. And when they're gone, he won't cry or shout or anything. He'd tell you that he only cares about the planet, that he'd do everything in his power to protect and preserve it. But this isn't the way it's supposed to be. There's no greater threat to the planet than him. Sephiroth has to be stopped. He has to be. And that's why I'm asking you to help me. I know that together we can do this. But if we do, we'll be changing more than fate itself. If we succeed, if we win, we'll be changing ourselves. I guess maybe that's why I hesitated.
The party stepped forth, defying what Destiny had planned for them. Inside the portal, they arrive at what seems to be Midgar, but in the sky a massive whisper forms, pulling debris and the party up to the sky. The party is scattered, but Cloud is able to meet up with Tifa and Barret. They look upon the giant whisper, Barret saying it actually looks like an arbiter of fate. This arbiter summons 3 avatars, one with a blunt weapon attached to its arm, one with 2 guns, and one with a sword. The trio fight and defeat one of the avatars. Once it dissipates, the image of Red 13 running through a barren wasteland appears. Aerith looks at Red, and he says it's a glimpse of tomorrow if they fail to defy Destiny today. Another avatar is defeated. The party sees an image of a giant meteor crashing down onto a planet. As the party chips away at the giant whisper, more and more images of the possible future fill their minds. The Arbiter is defeated, and they are transported again. Sephiroth appears, taking in all the scattered remnants of the whispers unto himself. He floats down from on high and the final battle begins.
Careful now. That which lies ahead does not yet exist. Our world will become a part of it one day, but I will not end. Nor will I have you end.
This is...
the edge of creation. Cloud, lend me your strength. Let us defy destiny together.
Never.
Not yet. 7 seconds till the end. Time enough for you, perhaps. But what will you do with it? Let's see.
After the end of the battle, we cut back to Shinra headquarters as we see Rufus taking his seat as a new president of Shinra. Ojo laughs maniacally at the chaos that ensued. We cut to a man with jet black hair carrying Cloud's sword. After a hard-fought battle, he's surprised that he's still alive. Behind him, a large explosion goes off as a barrier of whispers dissolve into the air. The citizens of Sector 7 begin to rebuild what was lost. We cut to Biggs asleep in the orphanage in Sector 5, still alive. Marlene, watering flowers, feels her father reaching out to her, promising that he'll come back to her. The party has made it outside of Midgar, but the true enemy, Sephiroth, is still out there. Cloud plans to follow him, and his friends are all on board. The sky begins to weep, cutting back and forth between a black-haired man carrying Cloud to Midgar and the party leaving to start their unknown journey.
I would be lost, drifting